Rooftop mystery. A strange sight was recorded over the rooftops in Wetteren, Belgium on January 2, 2024. Early in the day, a resident noticed an unusual object hanging in the sky above the buildings. With a clear blue background, the object's dark shape contrasted sharply with the morning light. The object appeared to hover just above a rooftop. Its outline looked smooth and somewhat disc-like, not matching the usual shapes of birds or drones. It didn't make any sound, and there were no flashing lights that would suggest something conventional. The camera captures the object drifting slightly, maintaining a smooth path before shifting closer to the edge of the building. Observers noted how defined its outline was, almost too solid and too symmetrical to be a bird or debris carried by the wind. The most mysterious part is how the object seemed to defy simple explanation, remaining steady above the rooftop before disappearing from view. Sightings like this one raise questions for many people. Could this be a new type of aerial technology or something else entirely? What do you think this object could be? Jumping object. A witness in Mexico City reported seeing a small light moving across the night sky on Thursday, December 4th. Two other people were present, and all three saw the same movement. The object appeared faint, but its behavior stood out immediately.
Ve cómo va hasta abajo, y otra vez se vuelve a subir ahorita. Desapareció. No. ¿Ya desapareció?
No, es verde.
Instead of following a straight path, the light shifted from one point to another at speeds that didn't match anything familiar. It would appear at a point, then suddenly at a different point, and again at another point with no visible transition.
¿No será un dron?
No.
Está demasiado alto.
¿O podrá ser un dron de Estados Unidos? Vente para acá, para mi toma.
No, no es un dron. No.
Sí, Carla puede tener que Carla tenga la razón.
Pues está descendiendo. O sea, sí se ve así.
No
Míralo.
There was no sound, no trail, and no steady pattern. The witness mentioned that it didn't look like a plane, drone, or satellite, mainly because of the sudden jumps in position that were too fast to track. The object eventually moved out of view, and the witnesses could not capture it on camera. Its unusual motion left them unsure of what they had seen. What do you think behaves like this in the sky, especially when it shifts position so abruptly? Flying without propulsion. A disc-shaped object was seen flying over Mexico in July 2019. The video clearly shows a metallic object moving steadily across the sky during daylight. The shape is smooth, round, and seems to reflect sunlight, making it easy to spot against the blue sky. The object doesn't have visible wings, rotors, or any of the usual features seen on common aircraft or drones. Viewers have pointed out the lack of sound or any sign of propulsion, which makes the sighting even more unusual. The object maintains a straight and level path and does not appear to wobble or lose altitude. There are no markings or lights visible on the surface. People who have seen this video online are debating its origins. Some suggest it could be a weather balloon or an advanced drone, while others are convinced it is something unknown. What do you think this object could be? Share your thoughts in the comments. They were coordinating. On November 22, 2025 in northern Illinois, the sky was filled with unusual activity. The observer witnessed between 15 to 20 glowing objects flying one after another across the night sky. Although not all were caught on camera, a portion of the event was recorded for others to see.
Wow. That's the 6th one of those in a row I've now seen. It's flying through the sky. It's totally flying through the sky. Look at that. It's wavering around. It's not fun. Here's another one. Here's another one. That's the 7th in a row, I think. Now, it's not flying in a straight line. It's going in a kind of the same direction, but it's kind of going left and right, and it's moving around as it moves. That's not a satellite. That's not a plane.
In the video, several objects can be seen moving in a steady, almost coordinated manner. Around the 1-minute mark, an object appears to manifest out of thin air below another that is already present. This new object hovers for a short time before quickly vanishing.
It looks like there's another one. The 8th in a row. 8th in a row. This is amazing. Like, actually miraculous. Actually miraculous. Oh my god. Where did that one? There's a second one that just... You saw that in the film. Where did that one come from? It just disappeared. You can see it, though, in the video. It's moving. It's moving.
Throughout the footage, a particularly bright light remains at the lower left part of the screen, hovering in place and moving slightly. The witness explains that this is not a star or planet, but another object, similar to those seen nightly in the area. The repeated appearances of these objects, their unusual flight patterns, and the way they seem to materialize and disappear have led to many questions. What could cause these lights to behave this way? Are they natural, man-made, or something else entirely? What do you think these objects are? Suspended hovering. While riding in a car with the window down on the freeway near Chicago, the observer noticed something strange in the sky above. At first glance, the objects looked like a cluster of small, dark spots scattered high up against the overcast sky.
Okay, so riding in Chicagoland on the freeway, this is 294 passing Halsted. I don't know what this is floating in the sky. Like, at first I thought it was balloons, but if it was balloons, it'd be moving. And then right at this time, it started raining. So I'm like, it can't be leaves or something that has floated up into the sky. Like, whatever this is stationary, and it's a lot of it. And it actually goes higher than that. Have you guys ever seen anything like this? Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are.
There were dozens, maybe even more, of these objects. They appeared to be suspended in place, not drifting like balloons or blowing in the wind. The witness considered if they could be leaves, but at that moment, it began to rain, making it unlikely that anything lightweight would be floating so high and remain still. Despite the rain and wind, the objects did not move as would be expected for debris or balloons. The unusual sight lasted for some time, and the person recording noted that the cluster seemed to stretch even higher than what the camera could capture. The stationary nature and sheer number of these objects make it difficult to explain. Was this a rare atmospheric event, or could there be another explanation? Has anyone ever seen something similar in the sky? What do you think these objects could be? Cigar. While driving through Williams, Arizona on December 8, 2025, just after 5:40 p.m., the observer spotted something unusual in the sky. Despite the bumpy roads making filming difficult, a strange, elongated object caught their attention, prompting them to start recording. The video reveals a cigar-shaped object hovering in the sky. Alongside this main object, two smaller objects appear, one positioned above and one below the cigar shape. The upper object seems to move around or possibly merge with the larger object. While the lower object is more clearly visible throughout the clip. Interestingly, these objects were not visible to the naked eye and were only noticed later upon reviewing the footage. The witness was initially focused on the main cigar-shaped object, unaware of the object's presence during the real-time sighting. The presence of a stationary or slow-moving cigar-shaped object with objects that only appeared on camera raises questions. Could this be a trick of the camera, or is there something unusual about the way these objects appear? Has anyone else encountered a similar sight or captured objects on video that weren't visible in person? What might explain this phenomenon? Hovering plasma. On the evening of November 24, 2025, at around 5:45 p.m. in Port Talbot, Wales, something unexpected appeared in the sky. The observer noticed several blue objects, with one especially standing out during this strange event.
There's another one rising really slowly into the sky. Like, that one's cooked. That does not look like a star now zoomed in. Literally, I'm just going to keep it over here. You're going to see it float away. I'm going to keep it really still. What is that? As well, there's like, that is not a star. What? I really wish I could zoom in further. Let me see if I can get it. I really want to get this. That is not a star. What is that? Yo, that's like, there's no navigation lights. There's no way you're telling me that is.
According to the witness, the blue object moved together and briefly formed a triangular shape above. Out of nowhere, white plasma-like objects suddenly appeared and crossed paths with the blue object. The interaction caused one blue object to start spiraling, and it quickly disappeared upwards, vanishing into the sky.
That is an aeroplane. I must be so stupid if that's an aeroplane, but look how bright that is as well. Look at the shape on that. I've just literally found loads of these tonight. That's so bright as well. Like, looking at that with the naked eye, like, that is bright. See, that's a plane over there. So you just know. Completely different. And then I'm going to try and find one of those bastards because they're just popping out of nowhere. Not a satellite because they've literally clustered and they've come out of nowhere. I can just keep on seeing them.
The witness managed to catch a white object on camera, describing it as being as bright as looking directly at a street lamp when glancing straight up. The sequence of object forming shapes, interacting, and then spiraling out of view left the witness puzzled. What could cause these objects to behave this way? And why did the white object appear so suddenly? Has anyone else in the area seen similar lights? Capture of Leanne. Just before I move to the next point, if you are new here and enjoy mysterious, unexplained UFO sightings, then do subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon to never miss a video. Early one morning in southeastern Tasmania, Lee Ann Peters noticed something unusual in the sky before sunrise. She described seeing what looked like a large ball of fire moving toward the eastern horizon, just as the sun was about to rise. Curious about the sight, Lee Ann quickly took a video and posted about the event on Facebook. Her post described it as a pretty big fireball meteorite heading towards the sunrise. The video quickly drew attention, with tens of thousands of views in just 2 days. Some viewers suggested it might have been a meteorite, while others wondered if the sunrise simply made an ordinary plane look more dramatic, especially with the fiery glow of the early morning sun. In a follow-up post, Lee Ann considered the possibility that it could have been a plane illuminated by the sunrise, as it was spotted near Hobart, Tasmania. The video's popularity has only fueled more questions and discussions. Was it just a regular aircraft catching the morning light, or did something more unusual pass through the skies of Tasmania that day? What do you think really happened? Greenish glow. A recent video from Russia has drawn attention online, showing an unusual event in the night sky. As a bright meteor moves rapidly across the scene, a smaller object appears near it, illuminated by a greenish glow. Viewers noticed that as the meteor streaks through the sky, this unidentified object suddenly moves toward it. The object, marked by a red arrow in the footage, seems to approach the meteor just before the meteor's brightness changes and its motion appears to slow. The sequence is brief, but the moment when the two objects seem to interact has led to a lot of speculation. The setting is dark, making the object stand out more sharply against the sky, and the video quality adds to the mystery since details are hard to make out. People are now asking questions. Was this just a strange coincidence of objects appearing in the same frame, or did something really intervene with the meteor's path? Could this object have played a role in stopping or altering the meteor's movement? What do you think happened in the sky that night? Shrinking light. At 8:33 p.m. on November 25th, 2025, near Pottle Lake in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, a driver noticed something unusual while traveling down the highway. An orange glowing light appeared over the lake, behaving in ways that were immediately different from anything seen before. The light seemed to constrict, rotate, and expand in place. The witness, familiar with the area and usual night conditions, could rule out aircraft, the moon, or reflections from human activity. The sky was clear and no nearby industries could explain the phenomenon. The object remained stationary but constantly shifted its shape, sometimes tightening, sometimes spreading out, almost as if it was alive. The way the light moved felt both unsettling and strangely beautiful. Compelled by the rarity of the moment, the observer tried to capture the phenomenon on camera, knowing it might never be seen again. After a few seconds, the light changed its behavior, subtly at first, and then suddenly shot away at an impossible speed, shrinking from a prominent glow to a tiny point in about a second. The event left the witness puzzled, unable to make sense of what had happened. Has anyone else witnessed something similar over Pottle Lake or anywhere else? What could explain the movement and sudden disappearance of this mysterious light? Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel to watch new videos.